Today I'm taking a look at Backstories from Lucky Duck Games. I've got two different versions of the game that I'm taking a look at today. We've got the Emerald Wedding Anniversary and also Alone Under the Ice. And in Backstories, it's basically like those old point-and-click computer games from the past where you just kind of wander around, click different things, try different combinations of things until you found the right combination that worked. That's what you're doing in Backstories as well. You've got a big box of cards and you've got different actions that you can take on those cards. I would like to thank Lucky Duck Games for providing both of these as a review copy. Let's go ahead and take a look at how this plays, and then I'll come back and share with you my thoughts. We're going to take a look at the Emerald Wedding Anniversary, but both games work the exact same way. So here's a quick overview, then I'll share with you some of my thoughts on Backstories. So here we have a game of Backstories set up and ready to go. I am showing you the Emerald Wedding Anniversary box. The other box, though, Alone Under the Ice setup is basically the same. You're going to get some cards out from this big box, and it's going to give you your story and your objective that you are trying to complete. And you're going to get different objectives throughout the course of the game. So in this one, the first objective is to pour the vomiting agent into Darkosa's glass and try to reduce the security around Darkosa. So this is your character, Agent Nyx. You also have these transparent cards in this edition of the game, in the Emerald Wedding Anniversary. So you slide those over your character as well. So he has these cool X-ray glasses. And you have your cards up here. This is your panorama. This is basically where you can do actions and try out different things. So all you will do is you will pick one of these panorama cards, and then you will pick one of your cards over here. So maybe you would want to discuss with this group of people right here. What you would do is you take this card, slide it behind this card, and then flip these over and then see what it says. So we've got some text there in terms of them just talking to you as your character. Now you have different actions that you can do for different locations, and the reason it's kind of referred to as a point and click adventure, or like those old point and click computer games, is because you're just trying out different stuff until you find something that kind of works. So you could put this behind here, and then maybe you flip that over. And says you could try pickpocketing. If you want to, draw a card out of the box. Otherwise, put this card back. And the same thing on this card as well. Here you can get a cocktail basically, and she says before enjoying the party we should discuss the mission. Draw card number 10. So that is what you will do throughout the course of the game, and you're just trying to go through and complete this objective. Now as the game goes on, you're going to get a big discard pile of cards that you'll put somewhere over here. Your panorama may get larger or smaller depending on how many scenes you have that you can do actions in that particular location. You'll also get some more action cards as well. These will kind of come and go throughout the course of the game. You might have different things that you're able to do later in the game depending on what the objectives are. So that is really an overview of Backstories. It really is that simple. Just take one of these cards, put it behind this one, flip it over. This one you can see is the X-ray glasses, so you can kind of see what's going on there. And then just draw whichever card out of the box. These are in numerical order. You've got a large big stack here. So you draw that, read whatever's on the card, and then just continue. So now that I've shown you how to play Backstories, let's go back and I'll tell you what I think. So you've seen an overview of how Backstories plays. Now I'll share with you some of my thoughts. Let's go ahead and start with the Emerald Wedding Anniversary. This was my favorite of the two, and I really enjoyed the story in this one. You get to play as a secret agent. You're going around this dinner party. I'm not going to spoil stuff for you, but you get to do lots of different actions. You've got lots of different characters that you are interacting with, and you've got lots of different decisions that you get to make as well. And that's the core mechanism in both of these games, is kind of the decisions that you get to make with the cards. Which cards are you going to play on those cards? Which action cards are you going to use? And how are you going to try and advance the story? And I felt like in this one, there was more different ways to go than the other one. I think this one has some more replayability. Now, both of these are not insanely replayable, and they're not trying to be either. They're kind of like one and done experiences almost. But this one I felt like you could play maybe even a second or a third time because you didn't see everything the first time through the game. So that was my favorite of the two. Alone Under the Ice over here is a little bit of a different adventure. In this one, you are kind of investigating the disappearance of your brother, and it's set out in this like Arctic research base. And so this one, you are going through collecting clues, trying to figure out kind of what happened as well. But this one, completely different setting. You're also doing some different things in this game. I just felt like I kind of saw everything in this one the first time through. It also didn't seem like it was as difficult. It was a little bit easier. It was kind of more obvious which decision to make and what would be the right decision in certain situations. So not as much replayability with this one, but still really interesting story. And I liked how both of these were very different in their stories as well, in terms of kind of their setting and what you were doing. And there's some different aspects that come into play in both of these without spoiling things that make them kind of unique and different. So I do think if you enjoy one, you would enjoy the other one. And while they are similar in terms of the gameplay, their stories and the actions you're taking and things like that are completely different. So that's kind of my just general thoughts on both of those. In terms of the two of them combined, I really did like the card system in this. I thought that it was very easy in terms of when you're playing, you just go through, grab the card out that you need, read on that card what you get to do next. You're going to discard a bunch of cards throughout the course of the game, and overall it's a very easy game to play. I also think from a solo perspective, it definitely works well for a solo player. I could not see myself playing this at very high player counts. I mean, I think 2 or 3 people is probably the max for this. Any more than that, it's just not going to be a ton of fun for everybody around the table while they're just waiting for their turn to happen. So in the solo game, you obviously get to make all the decisions. You get to kind of advance the story however you want to. You get to collect all the stuff. You have all the action cards. All of that is, good for a solo experience. And also, this is a good length for a solo game as well. Both of these will take you about 40 to 45 minutes to complete the entire case or episode, if you will. So it's not a super lengthy experience, but it feels long enough that it is a meaningful experience, and it is, really interesting to go through these stories. The other thing I like with this, as compared to something like an escape room type game, like Unlock or something like that, is there are puzzles in here that you do kind of solve, but they're very easy and they're not the main focus of the game. The main focus is deciding on which actions you're going to do in certain situations. And the game, a lot of times, especially in the Emerald Wedding Anniversary here, is going to have you make a choice between 2 different decisions. And you just kind of have to pick whichever one you think might be better. It could be a good outcome or it could be a bad outcome. But I like that these are different from some of those other types of games that are out there, like those escape room type games, because this is not about the puzzles. This is about the story and the decision making. And so that is one thing that I really enjoyed. From a quality perspective, both of these are really well done. The cards are thick enough that they are going to not be super flimsy, which is good for a game like this in which you're going to handle the cards a lot. The story, like I already talked about, is very well written. I didn't find any typos or anything that didn't make sense. Other than that, the components are very basic and very simple. It is just those cards that you're using, for the entire game, and it's just a big box of cards. But the instructions, very easy to understand as well, and this is a very quick game to get to the table. I like how it just tells you at the beginning, these are the cards you're going to get out, and here you go. And now you just get to do whatever you want, make whatever decision you want to kick this thing off and kind of advance the story. So those are all of my likes with Backstories. I would say my one major dislike with Backstories is actually the cleanup. This takes a while to clean up because you have that big discard pile of cards, and then you've got to put them all back in the right order in the box. The second time I played, I tried to put them in numerical order as I was discarding them, but then that kind of became its own little game in and of itself. And so when you go to clean this up, it is going to take you a while if you want to organize those cards correctly in the box once again, in case you want to play again or sell it or give it to somebody else, whatever you're going to do with it after you're done with playing Backstories. But that's really my only dislike. I did think that the story was really interesting in both both of these. I thought it was very easy to play. I had no questions about the rules, and for what it is, a small little game where you are just kind of experiencing it as a one-off, I thought it was really good and really fun. So for Backstories, I'm going to give the Emerald Wedding Anniversary an 8 out of 10, and I'm going to give Alone Under the Ice a 7 out of 10, just because I enjoyed this one a little bit more than this one. But if you like these kind of quick story games, if you want something that doesn't involve the use of an app, that's another thing that I didn't talk about. A lot of those escape room type games, you do have to use an app when you play them. Not these. Everything you need is on these cards and is in these boxes to be able to do these adventures. But if you enjoy that, then I think you would really like Backstories. It also works great for a solo player, a really good game for just one player. So those are my thoughts on Backstories. If you enjoyed this review, be sure to like and subscribe. Check out other videos on the channel as well. Got lots of other solo lists and solo reviews. Until next time, I'm Jared. You've been checking out Specifically Solo.